Hi, sixth graders. I just wanted to do a quick review on fractions and adding and subtracting fractions with like and unlike denominators. So if we have the fraction 2/3, remember 2 is our numerator. The numerator is always on the top, and 3 is our denominator, which is on the bottom. So if I want to find equivalent fractions to 2/3, I can multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, and I will get an equivalent fraction. So if I multiply the numerator and the denominator by 4, I would get 8/12. And then if we think about that, if we simplify 8/12 down to simplest form, we would get 2/3. Okay? I can find another fraction equivalent to 2/3 by multiplying by a different number. This time I'll do 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 5 is 15. So 10/15 is the same as 2/3. Okay? Any number, any whole number, multiplied by the numerator and the denominator makes it an equivalent fraction as long as you are multiplying or dividing by the exact same number. Okay, you cannot do something to the top without doing something to the bottom, without doing the same thing to the bottom. So if we multiply the numerator and the denominator by 100, we would end up with 200 over 300. Okay, so to add or subtract fractions, you need to have a common denominator. So you can see here, 4/5 plus 3/5, we have fifths and fifths. So when we add or subtract, the numerator stays the same if they're like denominators. So on the bottom, it will be fifths. Then we add 4 plus 3, and we get 7. So it would be 7/5. We always want to write it in simplest form. This is called an improper fraction because the numerator is larger than the denominator, which means that it is greater than 1. So 7/5, we can rewrite it with like denominators, is the same as 5/5 plus 2/5 because we know it's fifths on the bottom, so it's going to be fifths, and then we do 5 plus 2 and we get 7, so 7/5. 5/5 plus 2/5. 5/5 is the same as 1, and then we have 1 plus 2/5, so our answer then would be 1 and 2/5. 2/5 is in simplest form, so then we're done. Okay, 6/11 plus 8/11, we do the same thing. Keep 11 on the bottom, add 6 and 8, so we get 14. Again, it's an improper fraction. We know that 11 goes into 14 one time, and then there's 3 left over. 1 times 11 is 3. 11 plus 3 is 14. So 1 and 3, and then we keep the same denominator, 1 and 3/11. Okay, it gets a little trickier if we have different denominators. We need to find a common denominator then. So if I look at 1/2 plus 3/4, I ask myself, does 2 go into 4 or 4 go into 2? If the answer is yes, then you figure out what do I need to multiply each fraction by to get common denominators. So I know that 2 goes into 4, and I know if I multiply 2 times 2, I get 4. So we're always figuring out what can I do to this denominator to make it like fractions or like denominators. Okay, so 2 times 2 and then 1 times 2. I'm going to rewrite it so it's nice and neat. So we have 2/4 plus 3/4. Now we can add. 2 plus 3 is 5/4. We can take 4/4 out or take 4 away from 5. We get a whole number, and then we have 1 left over. Okay, next equation, 2/3 plus 1/9. So we know that 3 goes into 9, so I'm going to multiply my denominator and my numerator by 3. I see a lot of issues when we just try to figure out the answer right from here. It's better to write out the steps and then solve. So 6/9 plus 1/9 equals 7/9, and we ask ourselves, is that in simplest form? Yes, it is, so our answer is 7/9. Okay, so now we have an equation 1/2 plus 3/5. 2 does not go into 5, and 5 does not go into 2. Okay, so we're going to have to multiply both sides by something to get common denominators. So I know that 10 is a common denominator, so 2 times 5 is going to get me 10. I do the exact same thing. Okay, another reason why it's good to write this out so you know what you should be multiplying. I know that 5 times 2 is 10, so then up here I'm going to do times 2. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it. I have 5/10 plus 6/10. We get 11 tenths. And I pull a 10 away from the 11, so then I have 1 and 1/10. Okay, 3/10 plus 5/6. Okay, I know that they both go into 60 because 10 times 6 and 6 times 10 is 60. I also know that they both go into 30. So I'm going to do 10 times 3 because 10 times 3 equals 30. 3 times 3 is 9. And then to get to 30, I have to do 6 times 5 and then 5 times 5. So rewrite, I have 9/30 plus 25/30. 25 plus 9 is 34/30. 30 goes into 34 once, and then you have 4 left over. 4/30 can be simplified. We can divide both top and bottom by 2, so 1 and 2/15. Okay? Now I want you to pause me and I want you to try both of these problems. So my common denominator is going to be 12, so right away I have to figure out what am I going to do to get my numerators to 12. So 3 times 4 and then 4 times 3, and I have to do the same on the top as I did on the bottom. So 8/12 plus 9/12 equals 27/12. 12 can go into 27 twice, so 12 times 2 is 24. So 2, and then we have 3 left over, so 2 and 3/12, and then I have 2 and 1/4 is my answer. Okay, looking at 2/5 plus 1/6, I see that 5 and 6 both go into 30, so I'm going to multiply both sides by opposite. So this side we're going to multiply by 6 because 5 times 6 equals 30. Here we're going to multiply by 5 because 6 times 5 is 30. Rewrite 12/30 plus 5/30 equals 17/30. Okay, you can always go back and rewatch the video if you're still having some struggle. You can also Google adding and subtracting fractions. I didn't do any subtracting problems, but just know that it's the exact same steps as adding with getting the the common denominators, except you're going to be subtracting instead adding once you come down to the operation. Okay? Make sure you hang on to this. You can always go back and watch the movie, or you can always look into your textbook and read the lesson, or you can always search on the computer certain keywords and look it up that way too. Okay? Thank you for watching. Have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow.